Okay, dear friends, good evening. How are you? Yesterday we have done the work up to administrative structure. Today we have to move to the economic factor. Yesterday I have given to you some diagram, rather you can say circle. You are supposed to move this circle in the clockwise. You will come to know that the economic structure was the innermost circle, then comes political structure, then social structure, then cultural structure. So the economic structure is the base. Whenever the base will move, the whole superstructure had to move. So right from the time of the Marxist historiography, the economic structure is supposed to be a major factor behind the change. मतलब माय स्टूडेंट्स, मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि हम लोग इतिहास के अध्ययन के क्रम में परिवर्तन को पढ़ते हैं, और अगर परिवर्तन को समझना है तो सबसे पहले इकोनॉमिक चेंज बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर काम कर रहा है. इकोनॉमिक चेंज पॉलिटिकल चेंज को मूव करा रहा है. इकोनॉमिक चेंज इज प्रिपेयरिंग द पेस फॉर द पॉलिटिकल चेंज, the social change and the cultural change. But it does not mean that all the changes like social, cultural, political, etc., so they are not, and you can say they are not going to influence the economic factor. So this perception is wrong. Even social, cultural and political could produce impact on economic factor. But still, if you will ask me the question about the primacy of these factors, so I will always talk about the primacy of economic factor. मतलब मैं आपको बताना चाहा कि जैसे आर्थिक कारक होता है, वो राजनीतिक कारक को, सामाजिक कारक को, सामाजिक स्ट्रक्चर को, सांस्कृतिक स्ट्रक्चर को आकार देता है, और फिर जब ये स्ट्रक्चर बनता है तो वह भी इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर को इन्फ्लुएंस करता है. लेकिन ऐसा हम नहीं कर सकते हैं कि उसने वो इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं करता है. फिर भी अगर उसमें प्राइमेसी की बात होगी तो हम प्राइमेसी हमेशा इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर को देंगे. सो दैट इज द पॉइंट. अब नाउ लेट अस डू द 5 MCQ क्वेश्चंस फर्स्ट, देन यू हैव टू मूव फर्दर. व्हिच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स इज आर Which of the following statements are correct regarding the nature of the Gupta administration? Nature of Gupta administration. My students, you have to observe here the following factors, and then you have to move through it. Point 1, the process of decentralization gain momentum during this period. मतलब एक भी कारक हो सकता है, एक से ज्यादा कारक भी. Regarding the nature of Gupta administration. Point 1, the process of decentralization gained momentum during this period. Point first. Point 2, the post of an officer became hereditary. Point 3, one officer was given more than one post, and you are having the choice number A 1 only, choice B 1 and 2 only, choice C 1 and 3 only, and choice D 1, 2 and 3. So my students, be fast and try to find out the answer. Maximum D. Yes. D is the correct answer. You are correct. Yes. Question number 2. Assertion reason. The Gupta rulers assumed great titles like Param Bhattarka, Parameshwara, Param Devta. Reasoning. Under Gupta, the power and prestige of a monarch sharply increased. मतलब एसर्शन है जो आपको टाइटल्स की बात कर रहा है, रीजनिंग उसके कॉज की बात कर रहा है, एंड यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट द करेक्ट आंसर. बी फास्ट. दैट इज द एसर्शन एंड रीजनिंग. यू पीपल आर सपोज टू बी फास्ट. प्लीज. सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. यस, that is correct. Question number 3. During Gupta period, at which level of administration there was a provision for a council? During Gupta period, at which level of administration there was a provision for a council, Parishada? 1 provincial, 2 district, 3rd BT. So you are supposed to find out the answer. Be fast.
BRS.
B. 2 and 3. Yes, correct answer. Question number 4. The first inscribed evidence of a land grant can be attributed to the period of Shunga. Choice A. The first inscribed evidence of a land grant can be attributed to the period of, मतलब इसमें से किस डायनेस्टीज है जिसमें यू विल फाइंड द फर्स्ट एविडेंस ऑफ लैंड ग्रांट? चॉइस ए सुंगा, चॉइस बी कनवा, चॉइस बी कुशानाज एंड चॉइस डी शातवाहना.
D.
Shatwana, yes. Question number 5. During which of the following periods the officers came to be paid through land grants? Choice A Maurya period, choice B Satvahana period, choice C Gupta period, choice D post Gupta period. For the first time, which the following period the officers came to be paid through land grants? During which of the periods officers came to be paid through land grants?
Maximum D.
D post Gupta. Yes, good. Now my students, all the economy we have to move. So in yesterday's class, actually first of all a major compliment from my side because you people have done 5 out of 5 questions correct. So that is praiseworthy. And now come to the topic. You are supposed to underline the changes. Yesterday we have done administrative factor. Today we have to do now economy, and you are supposed to move in the economics segment from Rig Vedic period up to early medieval age. So let us start with the Rig Vedic period and later Vedic period first. Comparative study. Later Vedic period first time. Okay, so Rig Vedic period, first of all observe the basic feature of Rig Vedic economy. You are informed that the domestication of animals was the basis of Rig Vedic economy. Domestication of animals. Now you can say on which basis we can make such a claim. So although there were certain archaeological evidence as well, for example PGW, and in PGW you can say certain sites without iron tools they were identified with the Rig Vedic period, and PGW sites with iron tools were identified with later Vedic period. And here you can cite some examples of the, you can say Rig Vedic, the PGW sites without iron tools. So that can give some sort of indication, but most of the indications are coming from Rig Veda. In the Rig Veda you will find the reference to certain terms which were deeply associated with the domestication of cows or domestication of cow. What, Mr. Ankur?
Sir, Neha कह रही है कि sir in the Gupta period officers started to be paid through land grants.
No,
I have
Neha.
written in my copy also.
No, Neha. It is a major mistake. Study. Once again, I am asking all of you. Yesterday I have dictated you, and dictated you means I discussed with you, and here I have made a diagram. During the Vedic, during Gupta period, the post of the officers became hereditary. Just recall, post of officers became hereditary. मतलब अधिकारियों का पद वंशानुगत हो गया था, and one officer was offered more than one post. There I have cited the example of Harisena. He was gracing the post of Sandhi Vigrahaka, Kumara Matya, and Mahabaladhikrita. So I have given the reference, but my students, I have very clearly stated but still officers were paid through cash. And as a proof I can say you, I have given a reference to the fact that Guptas could issue the largest number of gold coins. And a substantial part of the gold coins were used for giving salary to officers, I have told you. And this became a phenomena from the time of Harsha. And it was the Huensang who has given the first reference. So Neha, there is definitely some sort of confusion. Please make a correction here.
Okay, sir.
Domestication of animals, so I have just told you, actually in case of domestication of animals, you will find here certain references. And these references was associated with the domestication of cows or taming of cows. For example, you find the different units, for example. For example, war was called Gavishti, search for cows, war. The daughter was called Duhita. Rich person was called Gomat. The unit for measurement of the distance was Gavyatu. The unit for the measurement of time was Godhuli. मतलब हमने आपको यह बताया कि एक्चुअली डोमेस्टिकेशन ऑफ एनिमल्स इंपॉर्टेंट था ऋग्वेदिक पीरियड में. इसका एक बड़ा एविडेंस यह है कि उस समय जो ऋग्वेदा में जो वर्ड्स सब आ रहे हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं वो गाय के इर्द गिर्द, काव के इर्द गिर्द घूम रहे हैं. मैंने हर चीज काव के माध्यम से व्यक्त होता है. अब सपोज यू कैन से कि इफ some of your friends are using the term pertaining to cricket in the, you can say, day-to-day life. For example, कि अरे you have done a googly for me, अरे you have done a clean bowled. It appears that कि possibly I will be compelled to return to pavilion. So these are the, you can say, these are the words being used in a common parlance. तो कोई अगर कॉमन पार्लेंस में ऐसे वर्ड्स को यूज कर रहा है तो समझ लो कि वो क्रिकेट से ऑब्सेस्ड है. This guy was obsessed with the cricket. The same happens in case of cows. It means that domestication of animals was the mainstay of economy at that time. But it does not mean that Rigvedic Aryans were not familiar with agriculture. Rigvedic Aryans were equally familiar with agriculture. Rigvedic Aryans were equally familiar with agriculture. And Rigvedic Aryans were equally familiar with agriculture. So this appears, you know, that there were certain reference in the Rig Veda pertaining to agriculture. But it was a secondary occupation. It was a secondary occupation, but they were familiar with. For example, you will find domestic in the field of Rig Veda, you will find the agriculture, जो कृषि है, उसमें you will find a reference to sowing the seeds, harvesting the crops, threshing, then the, you can say, plowman जिसको हलवाहा बोलते हो हिंदी में, that there is a reference that is, you know, Langulin he was called, plow for cultivation of land, hull, that was called, you know, Langal. So there are the several references to the agriculture in the Rig Veda. So agriculture was already in use. Then you find here, as you can say, here I have to inform you of what you know as the crafts. As you know as the crafts and trades, so I have to inform you, in fact, initially, the question arises if agriculture is going to give surplus. So that definitely leads to the development of craft, development of trade, etc., etc. Why? अब here I can give you the concrete example. अब suppose you can say कि 100 persons are involved into agriculture, and then agriculture was going to ensure the grain requirement of simply 100 people. So it means that all the people would be absorbed into production. But can you imagine that if 50 persons or 70 persons would be involved into agriculture and the grain requirement for 100 people have to be fulfilled, it means that 30 to 50 persons who would be free from agriculture, they could involve themselves into other occupations. For example, you know, craft work, for example, trade, for example, some of can join the priesthood, some of कैन ज्वाइन द रूलिंग क्लास। तो मतलब इसको कहते हैं डिवीजन ऑफ लेबर। जैसे आपका एग्रीकल्चर का प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, कृषि का, अब 100 लोग मिलकर एग्रीकल्चर करोगे तो फिर रेस्ट ऑफ पीपल करोगे क्या, क्योंकि आप तो सभी लोग उसी में इन्वॉल्व हो। अब उससे जो लोग फ्री होंगे वो अपने आप को अदर ऑक्यूपेशन में लगाओगे। इसका मतलब है कि जिस दिन आपका एग्रीकल्चर सरप्लस देने लगेगा उसका सीधा इंपैक्ट आपके क्राफ्ट पर पड़ेगा, ट्रेड पर पड़ेगा, प्रीस्टहुड भी आएगा, रूलिंग क्लास भी डेवलप करेगा, क्योंकि जो लोग फ्री होंगे वो अपने आप को अदर ऑक्यूपेशंस में लगाएंगे। सो दैट इज सम सॉर्ट ऑफ डिवीजन ऑफ लेबर। सो एज एग्रीकल्चर वाज नॉट डेवलप्ड and the economy was not generating surplus, so you will find the very limited you can say development of crafts. In the Rig Veda you will just find a reference to certain crafts, like you can say pot making, like you can say chariot making, like carpenting, and there was the certain metals were in use. In the Rig Veda you will find two important metals. One is called Suvarna. Suvarna means gold. In the Rig Veda you will find the reference to gold, Suvarna, and second one, you know, Suvarna, and the second one you know that is bronze or the copper. So in the Rig Vedic period you will find the reference either to gold or copper and bronze. Means कि Rig Vedic Aryans were familiar with simply gold, copper and bronze. They were not familiar with either silver or gold, or iron. Rig Vedic Aryans were not using iron. They were not iron users, because in Rig Veda we don't find reference to iron nor the reference to silver. Then what about trade? Even the trade was deficient, you know, because agriculture was not giving surplus. मतलब कि ट्रेड भी विकसित नहीं है एंड ट्रेड अभी पिछड़ा हुआ है. In the Rig Veda you find a group of merchants in the Rig Veda, and this group of merchants was known as Pani. Pani was a group of merchants, and possibly the Pani group of merchants was coming from non-Aryan group, because the Pani was notorious. Although the Pani merchants, so they were exchanging products with the Aryans, but sometime they used to steal the cows of Aryans. मतलब कि वो आर्यंस के साथ व्यापार भी करते थे, लेकिन यदा कदा उनकी गाय भी चुरा लेते थे. मतलब they were stealing their cows. So it was possibly a matter of conflict between the Panis and Aryans as well. So possibly Panis were coming from non-Aryan group. So this is the limited trade in Rig Vedic period, and basically Rig Vedic economy was moving through gift exchange system. Gift exchange system means कि through the barter system or something. What about money economy? No. Money economy did not develop. In the Rig Veda you will find a reference to two types of currencies, but they are not the formal currencies. They were the informal currencies. We cannot give these currencies the formal status. One is Nishka, Nishk, and another was Shatmana. Nishka and Shatmana, they were not regular currency. You in the Rig Veda you will find Nishka and Shatmana, but not regular currency. Okay. What about urbanization? Whether the Rig Vedic economy was a rural economy or an अर्बन इकोनॉमी. मतलब आपने मुद्रा के बारे में सुना. मुद्रा अभी औपचारिक रूप में शुरू नहीं हुआ है. निष्क और शतमान, ये दो मुद्राओं के बारे में हम सुनते हैं, बट दे वर नॉट रेगुलर कॉइन्स. वो कोई नियमित सिक्के नहीं थे. अब छठी बात ये आ गई, सिक्स्थ वन, कि क्या अर्बनाइजेशन था, नगर थे? नो. इन द ऋग वेदा वी फाइंड अ रेफरेंस टू पुर. पुर मीन्स फोर्ट, दुर्ग, इन हिंदी दुर्ग, एंड पुर मीन्स फोर्ट, but it was not a town. So in the Rig Veda we cannot imagine the town. So these are the features of the economy of the Rig Veda. Now we have to find out up to later Vedic period. Agriculture became the mainstay of economy. Agriculture mainstay of economy. My students, you can very well understand this point. You are moving from Rig Vedic to later Vedic period, so then you come to realize that agriculture became the mainstay of economy. Agriculture. or agriculture became the basis of economy. And agrarian practices were in use on massive scale. For example, not massive in at the Buddha age, but in comparison to Rigvedic period, there was the better improvement in agriculture. You will come to know it was the time. Just try to link this phenomena to political expansion. So earlier you were informed that Rigvedic Aryans were simply spread to the Punjab and Ganges Yamuna divide region. But it was during later Vedic period the Aryans could have moved, or Aryans could move to upper Gangetic basin. And here you can see in Rig Veda you have heard about a single one crop that is called Yava or Dhanya. Yava or Dhanya. According to R.S. Sharma, in Vedic period, a reference to a single one, you can say, crop of Aryans, and that was Yava. Yava means jaw, barley. But in later Vedic period, you will come to know about reference of two crops. That was, apart from Yava, that was barley, Godhum and Brihi. Godhum was wheat and Brihi was rice. So here you can say barley, wheat and rice. Then in later Vedic period, in upper Gangetic basin, that was slightly more fertile, you can say. And furthermore, in the later Vedic period, you will come to know that iron tools came into use. Iron tools. But my students, you should not expect the wide extent use of iron tools in the field of agriculture. It was due to the fact that initially the Aryans, the later Vedic Aryans could not produce the heat in quantity which could have produced the better quality of iron tools. So during earlier phase, the most of the iron tools were being used as the war weapons, not agrarian tools. मतलब कि देखो आयरन टूल्स का इन्होंने यूज करना तो शुरू कर दिया था, लेकिन इनके जो आयरन टूल्स थे वो एग्रीकल्चर के टूल्स नहीं के बराबर थे. हम ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, बिल्कुल नहीं थे. दैट वॉज वेरी मीगर यूज ऑफ आयरन टूल्स इन द फील्ड ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर. और इसका कारण क्या था? Because they could not do the socketing of iron tools. So socketing means, suppose you are making an axe. So if you will come to a certain melting point, only then you can melt the iron in the proportion, you can give it and you can say required shape. Otherwise, anyhow you will make the weapon, but it could not be given a proper shape. For example, you are taking the axe. So even you can say handle of the axe made of iron, and the mouth of the axe was, you can say, or head of the axe was made of iron. So you cannot use it efficiently. मतलब कि उसका बॉडी पार्ट भी आयरन का होगा और उसका माउथ भी, हेड है वो भी आयरन का होगा, तो आप यूज कैसे करोगे? It will be possible through socketing later during Buddha age, because then you can, melt the iron in the proportion, you can do the socketing. मतलब उसको आप घुमा सकते हो ऐसे, उस पर आप एक वुडन हैंडल लगा सकते हो. मतलब you can fix a wooden handle with an iron head of your axe. So that will be more efficient because you will catch it up efficiently. You can use it up and cut the tree. Otherwise, your hand would be affected if the handle is made of iron. But it is possible only in Buddha age, and above all, I have to inform you what you call iron plowshare. So iron plowshare was in use only in Buddha age. You cannot find any archaeological evidence of iron plowshare which had been unearthed from later Vedic period. Okay, Hamish Tankur.
Sir, Harsh Kare bronze how, sir? Sir, they import tea from Mesopotamia during Rig Vedic period.
No, actually it was not the case. Harsh, you are right. देखो, even India in Hazaribagh region, you can say, or in certain parts of India, or as an alloy, the tin was extracted even from a copper mine. It does not mean that tin was completely unavailable in India. It is true that the proportion of and the availability of tin in India was negligible. It is true. And it is equally true that tin was massively imported from Mesopotamia during Indus Valley civilization or Indus Valley period. But we, in Rig Vedic period, we are not informing you that the Rig Vedic Aryans could use the bronze tools on a massive scale as the Harappan people, but still they were familiar with the bronze tools, so that's why I have to make you clear. So, because they were using in the Rig Veda two terms, Suvarna and Ayas. So, Suvarna was identified with gold and Ayas with copper and bronze, both. So, this is the case. So, in agriculture you find, then in later Vedic period, the Aryans came to use even iron. So, from with how many you can say tools the Aryans were familiar and how many metals Aryans were familiar? Copper, bronze, iron, because in later Vedic text Shatpat Brahmana you will find the use of the term the Shyam Ayas or Krishna Ayas. Shyam Ayas or Krishna Ayas, and Shyama Ayas or Krishna Ayas, that was identified with iron. Then you will find the term Rajat. Rajat was used for silver. तो मैं आपको बताना चाहता कि लेटर वैदिक पीरियड में आर्यंस आयरन और सिल्वर दोनों से वाकिफ हो गए थे. एक बात और भी कहना चाहूंगा कि एग्रीकल्चर बिकेम द इम्पोर्टेंट इन लेटर वैदिक पीरियड, और यू कैन से द at least the agrarian activities became prestigious. Scholars believe that during later Vedic period, agrarian activities became prestigious because in a text Shatpat Brahmana, I will just make you familiar with the name of text later. In a text Shatpat Brahmana, you will find a reference that the king Janak could cultivate the land. So it was in the process of cultivation of the land, Janki was born. Janki was born. So the whole episode, अभी देखो, मैं ये नहीं कहता हूं कि हिस्ट्री में देखो ये माइथोलॉजी है, इट इज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ हिस्ट्री. जानकी या प्लाउसेयर के माध्यम से जब सीता पैदा हुई थी, तो ये इसको मैं ये नहीं कहता हूं कि इट इज द पार्ट ऑफ हिस्ट्री और द स्टोरी इज ट्रू. It is simply a mythology, but it amply proves that during later Vedic period, even king and nobles could be associated with agrarian practices. It means up to this period, agrarian practices became too much prominent. यहाँ पर जो agrarian practices है वो बहुत important हो गया, important हो गया और prestigious हो गया. Then what about craft? At least the condition of craft improved than you find during Rig Vedic period, because after all, with the growing agriculture, there was the better agrarian surplus in later Vedic period, slightly surplus in later Vedic period. So definitely the craft situation improved. So that's why in later Vedic text Vajsani Samhita, we find the various sorts of crafts. So even the craft situation improved in लेटर वैदिक पीरियड. मतलब जो शिल्प है, कारीगरी है, उसका बेहतर विकास ऋग वैदिक की तुलना में आपको क्राफ्ट कंडीशन इंप्रूव्ड. इवन ट्रेड इंप्रूव्ड बिकॉज एग्रीकल्चर स्टार्टेड टू गिव सरप्लस. सो ऑब्वियसली यू कैन से इट वाज लीडिंग टुवर्ड द इंप्रूवमेंट इन ट्रेड एज वेल. इसमें आपको थोड़ा ट्रेड दिखेगा और ज्यादा पहले से बेहतर आपको ट्रेड सिचुएशन लगेगा, बिकॉज in the later Vedic text for the first time you will find the use of the term Gana, Sangha and Sreshthi. Sreshthi means a merchant class here, and Sangha. So reference to certain terms are going to prove that possibly trade condition also improved during later Vedic period. Then what about money economy or monetary system? So barter system was prevailing even in later Vedic period. You will hear about certain coins, because Niska and Satmana, they had been continuing from the Vedic period itself. Apart from that, you find the name of a new sort of coin that is called Krishnala. apart from Nishka and Shatmana, you will find the reference to Krishnala, but it neither Nishka nor Shatmana. Shatmana was denoting 100, a group of unit of 100 cows, and Nishka means some jewelry, some necklace like jewelry. And what is the nature of Krishnala, that is not clear. Sorry. मैंने आपको यहाँ पर बताया कि जैसे देखो एक टर्म आता है निष्का. निष्का का मतलब गले में कोई ज्वेलरी था, आभूषण था, जिसको नेकलेस बोलते हो. एंड शतमाना का मतलब हुआ कि 100 काउज का एक यूनिट रखते थे, और कोई चीज एक्सचेंज करना है तो एक्सचेंज में आप 100 काउज को उन्होंने 100 काउज के यूनिट को उन्होंने एक क्वाइन की तरह यूज करना शुरू किया था. कृष्णाला का नेचर क्लियर नहीं है क्या था. एंड व्हाट अबाउट अर्बनाइजेशन? कैन यू टेक लेटर वैदिक पीरियड एसोसिएटेड विथ द अर्बन phase? No. Even during later Vedic period, the economy was a rural economy. Although in a later Vedic text, Taittiriya Aranyaka is a later Vedic text where you find a reference to Nagar. You will find the reference to Nagar in Taittiriya Aranyaka, but that is simply a reference, an exception. But on the basis of archaeological evidence, Nagar is not visible, town is not visible. Their condition is better than a village. So some archaeologists believe that possibly they were proto-urban site. They were proto-urban site but not proper urban site. They were proto-urban site. मतलब वो कहीं ना कहीं proto-urban site थे, लेकिन उसको भी proper urban site नहीं कहा जा सकता. So these are the Vedic period, you know. So we are coming to now Buddha age. Buddha age. Buddha age और Mahajanpada period. First of all, agriculture. So my students, this is just 1 minute. This is upper Gangetic basin and this is middle Ganga valley, and after that lower Ganga valley. So my students, you find here starting from Haridwar up to Allahabad or the Prayag presently. So that geographical area is known as upper Gangetic basin. So this was the wheat producing region, you know. But the region between Prayag or Allahabad up to Bhagalpur in Bihar, that belongs to middle Ganga valley. And this was a rice producing region. And this is supposed to be more fertile than upper Gangetic basin. Even rainfall was better. So that's why it was rice producing region. But there was one constraint, and this constraint was it was densely forested region due to better rainfall. So there was a greater challenge ki how to clear the land. So R.S. Sharma, scholars like R.S. Sharma believes, if you are just putting aside the controversy and historical debate, that is, you can say, useful for the history optional students, not for you people in general studies. You have to take a very straight idea in this regard. Here you know, according to R.S. Sharma, as the land was densely forested, so it was required the iron implements and better quality of iron tools for clear the forest. and it became possible during during, you can say, this became possible from 6th century BC onwards, because up to this period the people could produce such a quantity of heat as better quality of iron tools could have been manufactured. For example, iron plowshare, the better quality of axe, better quality of, the hoe, the better quality of, the sickle, हंसिया, कुदाल, हल. तो ये हल का फाल. तो बेटर क्वालिटी से क्या है कि यू आर जस्ट कटिंग द ट्री, but even if you are cutting the tree, its root was going to be deeper in the earth. So if you are using the wooden plowshare, so this wooden plowshare will simply break down, and this will just break whenever it will touching the root of a tree. So if you are using the iron plowshare, so it was possible to uproot even the root of the tree. So in this way we can say that now this iron tools made agriculture easy and better in middle Ganga Valley. And it was the time कि according to R.S. Sharma कि workers and slaves and workers could be involved into cultivation, and one specific technique developed that is called plantation of paddy यानी धान. क्योंकि पहले क्या था कि जैसे आप धान राइस का क्या हो कि बीज आप यू आर जस्ट सोइंग द सीड्स एंड प्लांट्स आर कमिंग आउट, बट दिस type of rice could not produce the sufficient yield. But once you have developed the technique of plantation of paddy, means you are just sowing the seeds, the plants are coming out, then you are uprooting the plants and again you are replanting it. So that is called plantation of paddy while giving the too much water in the earth. अगर आप लोगों ने कभी धान की रोपाई अपने लाइफ में देखा होगा टीवी पर भी, तो जाना होगा कि प्लांट बाहर से लाकर उसको फिर खूब पानी करके उसको रूट किया जाता है अर्थ के अंदर. तो वो क्या होता है कि उससे इट वॉज गोइंग टू गिव अ लार्जर यील्ड. एंड फॉर योर काइंड इंफॉर्मेशन कि नाउ राइस कुड फीड 2.5 times more number of people than the wheat earlier. So it led to the population growth, and this population growth could lead towards the improvement in craft. So agrarian surplus, a major agrarian surplus led to multiplication of crafts, and it is for the first time in Buddhist text you will come to know about 18 types of crafts. मतलब आपने एग्रीकल्चर सरप्लस आपका बेटर था, तो क्या हुआ कि लोग एग्रीकल्चर से ज्यादा फ्री हुए, क्योंकि अब कम लोग एग्रीकल्चर में लगते तो ज्यादा लोगों को ग्रेन्स मिलता, तो वो अपने आप को क्राफ्ट में लगाया. बहुत लोगों ने ट्रेड में लगाया. तो यू विल फाइंड द बेटर क्वालिटी ऑफ ट्रेड, एंड फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन बुद्धा एज यू विल कम टू नो अबाउट अ ट्रेड रूट स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम तक्षशिला, coming to Lahore, and then coming to here you can say Ujjain and Mathura, and from Mathura to you can say here Mathura, Lahore, Takshila, Lahore, Ujjain here, Mathura, and from Ujjain to here that will move towards Bharuch. Bharuch means in Gujarat coast, and here you can say Mathura, and from Mathura coming to Sravasti, from not here Sravasti, from Mathura coming to Sravasti, from Sravasti to Banaras, and from Banaras to Patliputra. So this route is coming up to Patliputra, and later it was going to Tamlipti in Bengal in Maurya period, So a trade route was there, and even the trade route developed, and there was the better trade and development of trade and commerce, the better multiplication of craft, the 18 types of crafts have been mentioned. So it led to the money economy, the use of money economy for the first time. तो आपको पहली बार मुद्रा का औपचारिक रूप में, that was the formal currency. So money economy will develop, and you will come about the first formal currency was punch mark coins. You might have heard the name punch mark coins. If someone is going to ask you, just my students, just for test, you have to type fastly. The punch mark coins, most of the punch mark coins, and the majority of punch mark coins were made of which metal? The majority of punch mark coins were made of which metal? It's my question to you, my students, so that you people will be mentally alert. Please inform me. मतलब जो ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्वांटिटी ऑफ जो पंच मार्क कॉइन्स था वो किस मेटल का बना हुआ था? Be fast, my students.
Copper.
What? Most of the majority of coins, Mr. Ankur, majority of students have replied the point.
Silver, copper.
Majority, the more and more silver and then copper. If you have to find out whether majority of coins were made of silver and copper, you will choose silver and then secondary copper. It was called punch mark because you will find that the imprint on the coins, the imprint of moon, tree, etc. So it was called punch marks. And whether the coins were issued by the state or the private party, it was the trade corporation, means the corporation of merchants, or the, you can say, as a craft developed, so there was the development of guild, the guilds of artisans, जिसको कहते हैं श्रेणी. उसमें कौन होते थे? जो कारीगरों का, शिल्पियों का समूह होता था वो श्रेणी कहलाता था, उसको गिल्ड बोलते. एंड जो व्यापारियों का, मर्चेंट्स का समूह होता था उसको निगम बोलते हैं. कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ मर्चेंट्स, दैट वाज कॉल्ड निगम. एंड द, you can say, artisans, the group of artisans, you can say, so that was, the group of artisans, and the artisans who were just, you can say, combined under a single master guild, and they started to produce collectively, so that was called Sreni or guild. So this is the use here. So they were issuing these punch mark coins. And then what about urbanization? So for the first time, you can say, after the Harappan urbanization, the second urbanization started in history in Middle Gangetic Basin. The second urbanization started in history in Middle Gangetic Basin, or you can say in Middle Ganga Valley. In Middle Ganga Valley. The second urbanization. So you will find a number of urban centers have been mentioned here. Here I have to inform you that according to Buddhist texts, there were 60 towns in North India, and certain towns were, at least 20 towns were as large as Sravasti, and 6 towns were the major cities. And even Alexander's historians who accompanied Alexander during this period, because Alexander's invasion on India during this period you find. So even Alexander's historians like Curtius, Nearchus, etc. So they have mentioned about nearly 9 states and 5,000 towns in Northwest. 5,000 is a very exaggerated account. It was not practically possible, but at least you can imagine certain towns in Northwest. मतलब कि सिकंदर के जो हिस्टोरियन थे उन्होंने भी नॉर्थ वेस्ट में टाउन का रेफरेंस दिया है. सो टाउन्स वेयर द वेरी कॉमन एट दैट टाइम. सो इट वाज द सेकंड अर्बनाइजेशन. दिस वाज द बुद्धा एज इकोनॉमी. सो लेट इट बी फिनिश्ड. अब नाउ कम टू मौर्य पीरियड. मौर्य पीरियड इन इकोनॉमी. हाँ मिस्टर अंकुर, आस्क मी.
सोनम कह रहे हैं कि सिल्वर के बारे में हड़प्पन लोग जानते थे, तो ऋग्वैदिक वाले क्यों नहीं जानते थे?
अब सोनम, योर क्वेश्चन इज यूनिक इन द सेंस कि द इंडस वैली, द, you can say, Harappan people developed the towns, but the Vedic civilization remained to be a rural civilization. So it does not mean that what were known by Harappans at that time, so that should be imitated by Vedic Aryans as well. Harappans lived in one locality, Vedic Aryans were just living in other locality. The Harappans were the different people, the Vedic were the different people. So how can you, not to speak of Harappans and Vedic people, even in Indian subcontinent you will find that previously Sonam I have informed you that the different parts of Indian subcontinent remain to be at the different level of development. We cannot imagine the uniformity of development there. मतलब मैंने आपको बताया है सोनम कि इंडिया के जो बहुत अलग अलग पार्ट है, अब जैसे कुछ रीजन जब आपके अब हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन में तुम देखते हो कुछ रीजन अर्बनाइजेशन के स्टेज पर था, तो कुछ तो उस समय कैलकोलिथिक स्टेज पर ही था और कुछ तो न्यूलिथिक स्टेज पर ही था. तो इट डज नॉट imperative that if the Harappan people are having the knowledge, the Vedic Aryans should also know. Vedic Aryans were not so developed as Harappans.
अंशल पूछ रहे हैं सर कि वैदिक पीरियड लेड अ सेटल्ड लाइफ, सो व्हाट वाज द नीड फॉर एक्सपेंशन. अंशल
नहीं, एक्सपेंशन मीन्स कि द ग्रेजुअली यू कैन से कि दे आर मूव एक्चुअली. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन, अब इवन द हरप्पन पीपल आंसर, इवन द हरप्पन पीपल were already leading an urban life, but still they were expanding. It was very natural. I mean, presently in India you are living a settled life, but how you are clearing the forest and the more and more regions are getting settled, rural regions become the urban one. So obviously the growth in population, you know. So gradually the people started to live in other regions.
आनंद कह रहे हैं कि सर इन पोस्ट वैदिक पीरियड डिस्पाइट ऑफ पॉलिटिकल एक्सपेंशन, but why did they depend on only in agriculture?
Post-Vedic period means? Post-Vedic means Buddha age. In Buddha age, you have just finished the topic. They were not simply depending on agriculture. In the Buddha age, you will come to know कि no, they have developed the craft, multiplication of crafts, money economy developed, Panchmat coins, silver and copper coins, and silver copper mixed. Panchmat coins were of three varieties. Keep in your mind, my students. Majority of coins silver coins, then copper coins, and some coins were silver copper mixed. Panchmat. And then urbanization. So how can you make the claim that the Harappan people were, the post Vedic people remained to be the agrarian people only?
Sir, Abhishek कह रहे हैं कि why did rice get more important and mentioned in history in comparison to wheat?
No. Wheat has been mentioned, not less than number. Actually, rice was more important because once the production of rice started. So, answer, who has asked this question? Abhishek. Actually, problem is that before the so-called Green Revolution in India, the production of wheat was much less than that of rice. The rice could feed 2.5 times more people, number of people than wheat. And one important thing I have to inform you, rice was even producing fertility in human beings or man. So in the rice producing region, there was the sharp growth in population because rice was having the nature, even from the viewpoint of biological, this was the biological region ki rice could produce more fertility in human beings. तो अभी भी तुम देखो ना, पंजाब से ऐसे बढ़ते हुए गोइंग बेल्ट से राइस बेल्ट में जाते तो पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ उधर ज्यादा होता चला गया. सो इट वाज वेरी नेचुरल, यू कैन से. तो राइस ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट था हमारे लिए.
सर सौरभ कह रहे हैं कि एक्सप्लेन ट्रेड ड्यूरिंग बुद्धा पीरियड इन हिंदी.
सौरभ, मैंने तो हिंदी में आपको बताया था कि देखिए, मैंने आप याद करिए, मैंने ये बताया कि जैसे वैदिक आर्यंस हैं, ओके, तो उन्होंने एक रास्ता मार्ग मतलब बुद्धा एज तक एक ट्रेड रूट डेवलप कर गया. तो ये मैंने बताया कि देखो तक्षशिला, अब इंडिया के मैप पर आप विजुअलाइज करो तक्षशिला से लाहौर आओ, लाहौर से बढ़ते हुए आओगे तो यहाँ पर मथुरा, यहाँ ये उज्जैन को टच करता है. उज्जैन से वो ट्रेड हो, वो ऐसे भरूच वॉज द इन एंशिएंट पीरियड, द भरूच वॉज द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पोर्ट. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पोर्ट है भरूच, जो गुजरात में है, माने बंदरगाह जिसको बोलते हो. और उज्जैन से रूट ऐसे मथुरा चला जाएगा और मथुरा से यमुना को और गंगा को दोनों को क्रॉस करके आ जाता है श्रावस्ती, जहां पर आप देखते हो साकेत है, अयोध्या है। और फिर श्रावस्ती से आ जाता है बनारस, और बनारस से पाटलिपुत्र, और पाटलिपुत्र से बंगाल में एक जगह है, एक पोर्ट है, एक बंदरगाह है, वो आपको आगे पता चल जाएगा, उसका नाम है ताम्रलिप्ति, वो नाम नया है फिर। तो ये पूरा ट्रेड रूट ऐसे डेवलप किया हुआ है। तो देखो मैं फिर एक बार रिपीट कर देता हूँ हिंदी में, लगता है कि शायद हिंदी में इंग्लिश में आपको दिक्कत हुई, लेकिन हिंदी तो मैं बोलता ही गया हूँ, मैंने हिंदी में तो कोई कंजूसी नहीं की है। फिर भी जैसे आप इतना तो जानते हो कि मध्य गंगा घाटी, इसको मिडल गंगेटिक बेसिन, देखो इंग्लिश टर्म्स तो आपको सुनना समझना पड़ेगा, या तो आप अगर इंग्लिश भले ही आप समझ लीजिए कि लिखेंगे तो आप इंग्लिश में, तो अगर आप इंग्लिश नहीं सुनेंगे तो सेंटेंस फॉर्मेशन कैसे होगा, वो भी तो एक प्रॉब्लम आएगी। तो या तो फिर आप हिंदी मीडियम में आ जाइए तो सो एंड द बेटर। मैं तो आपको हमेशा स्टूडेंट्स को बोलता हूँ जिस मीडियम में आप ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल रहिए, मीडियम इज नॉट ए प्रॉब्लम। जिस मीडियम में आप ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल रहिए उसी मीडियम को पकड़िए, दैट विल बेनिफिट यू। तो क्या है ना, तो पता चलता है कि हमारी जो ज्यादा से ज्यादा एनर्जी है वो लग गई लैंग्वेज में, और पता चला कंटेंट ही पिछड़ गया, तो वो भी नहीं होना चाहिए। सिलेक्शन तो तभी होगा ना। तो मैंने आपको बताया था कि अब जैसे एग्रीकल्चर, तो एग्रीकल्चर सरप्लस दिया तो क्राफ्ट डेवलप हुआ, तो क्राफ्ट में 18 प्रकार की 18 प्रकार के क्राफ्ट की चर्चा बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट में हुई है। फिर ट्रेड डेवलप हुआ, व्यापार का विकास हुआ, तो व्यापारिक मार्ग मैंने बता दिया, यहां से लेकर यहां तक फैला हुआ है। और फिर मैंने बताया कि पहली बार मुद्राएं, जिसको मनी कहते हो यानी करेंसी, वो पहली बार आई है अस्तित्व में। पंच मार्क कॉइंस, हिंदी में उसको आहत सिक्का बोलते हैं, जिसको छाप देकर। और पहली बार नगर आए, क्योंकि बुद्धा एज में 60 टाउन्स की चर्चा है, और नॉर्थ इंडिया में बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट में श्रावस्ती जैसे 20 मेजर टाउन्स और 6 बड़े सिटी थे। और उधर जो अलेक्जेंडर के हिस्टोरियन आए हैं वो भी नॉर्थ वेस्ट में कई टाउन्स के बारे में बताया। तो मुझे लगता है आप समझ में आ गया होगा, आपको हिंदी में कोई ऐसी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मौर्य पीरियड, अब देखो मौर्य पीरियड, इफ समवन इज गोइंग टू आस्क यू कि व्हाट इज द फीचर ऑफ मौर्यन इकोनॉमी, सो यू कैन वेरी वेल यूज द टर्म कि द इकोनॉमी ऑफ बुद्धा एज प्लस एक्टिव रोल ऑफ द स्टेट इन इकोनॉमी इज इक्वल टू मौर्य इकोनॉमी। मीन्स कि the features of economy remain the same, but definitely Mauryas intensified the process of economic growth due to the active role of the state. For example, agriculture. So in Maurya period, the state started to take direct participation in agriculture. A state used to maintain its own land. That was called Sita land. A state used to maintain own land, that is called Sita land. And this Sita land was placed under the control of an officer that was called Sita Dhyaksha. So Sita land was under the control of Sita Dhyaksha. And then you can say in this Sita land, even the workers, slaves and prisoners all were involved by the state for agriculture. मतलब मैंने आपको बताया कि मौर्य, अगर आपको मौर्य इकोनॉमी जानना है, मैं हिंदी में भी बोल दे रहा हूं, अब बाद में मत करना कि आपने केवल हिंदी में आपको नहीं कहा। अगर आपको मौर्य इकोनॉमी के बारे में जानना है तो इस फार्मूला को ध्यान रखो, बुद्धा एज इकोनॉमी यानी बुद्धा एज और महाजनपदा इकोनॉमी प्लस स्टेट्स रोल इज इक्वल टू मौर्य इकोनॉमी। मतलब कि आप बुद्धा एज की इकोनॉमी में राज्य की भूमिका को ले लो तो मौर्य एज की इकोनॉमी हो जाएगी। एग्रीकल्चर में स्टेट अपना एग्रीकल्चर लैंड रखता है, उसके लैंड को क्या बोलते हैं? सीता लैंड। जिस ऑफिसर को अपॉइंट किया गया उसका क्या नाम है? सीताध्यक्ष। सीताध्यक्ष उसका नाम है। सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन है। एंड स्टेट वर्कर्स को, माने श्रमिक को लगाता है, दास को लगाता है, शूद्रा को लगाता है। एग्रीकल्चर में शूद्रा को लगाया गया है मौर्यास के समय। और युद्ध बंदी जो प्रिजनर्स थे, प्रिजनर्स को भी एग्रीकल्चर में लगाया गया। ओके, अब यू हैव टू ऑब्जर्व द क्राफ्ट। सो यू कैन से कि द मल्टीप्लिकेशन ऑफ क्राफ्ट्स मीन्स कि मल्टीप्लाइंग ऑफ क्राफ्ट्स रिमेन टू बी अ मेजर फीचर multiplication of crafts remained to be a major feature. But one important thing during Maurya period was that state was having the monopoly over certain crafts. For example, ship making, for example, iron, for example, mining. So during Maurya period, you will come to realize that the state was maintaining its own crafts as well. The state was maintaining its own crafts. मतलब जो राज्य है उसको राज्य का भी अपना अलग क्राफ्ट होता था और वो उसको मोनोपोली मेंटेन करता था. Then trade. You will be surprised to know that even state were participating in trade, and state tradable products were known as राजपन्या. मतलब राज्य के अपने व्यापार चलते थे और जो स्टेट का अपना प्रोडक्ट होता था उस प्रोडक्ट को राजपन्या कहा जाता था. एंड देयर वाज एन ऑफिसर, यू विल कम टू नो अबाउट एन ऑफिसर, एंड हिज नेम वाज पन्याध्यक्षा. पन्याध्यक्षा वाज हैविंग द कंट्रोल ओवर ट्रेड. मतलब पन्याध्यक्ष नामक एक ऑफिसर होता था जो ट्रेड को कंट्रोल करता था. तो ट्रेड में भी स्टेट का रोल था बहुत बड़ा. And then, what were the coins under Mauryas? So far as the question of literature is concerned, So as the literature, you can say, you'll come to know, according to the literature, Panna was the main currency, and Panna was made of silver. But it was a literary evidence. In archaeological evidence, you will find a currency, and in archaeological evidence, you will find simply the punch mark coins. And punch mark coins, you can very well understand that punch mark coins were not issued by the state, even during Maurya period. Punch mark coins were issued by either guilds or corporations, even during Maurya period. But the state was not producing punch mark coins, not manufacturing punch mark coins, not issuing punch mark coins. So this is the case, And one thing, in agriculture, I have one point missing. You people have to be mentally alert. Actually, a state was supporting irrigation as well, because you will come to know, you might have heard about Sudarshan Lake. Sudarshan Lake, basically it was meant for irrigation. And in whole of ancient history, you will find a reference to Sudarshan Lake. So if someone is going to ask you who built this Sudarshan Lake, so Sudarshana Lake was built by Pushgupta. He was an officer under Chandragupta Maurya in Gujarat. That is called Junagadh in Gujarat. And later it had to be repaired by Rudradaman. I'll give a reference, and then Askandagupta during Gupta period. Mauryas could not issue coins themselves. Rather, the coins were being issued by the corporation and guilds. And if someone is going to ask you which was the first dynasty in India that issued the coins in the name of the king, so certainly your answer would be that is Indo-Greeks. And previously I have asked this question, you people have replied. जैसे मैंने कहा कि आप लोग मौर्य के ध्यान रखिए कि इरिगेशन जो सिंचाई है वो मौर्य किंग ने उसको सपोर्ट किया है. उसी में मैंने एक नाम बताया, पुष्पगुप्त है, जो चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य का ऑफिसर है. उसने पहली बार सुदर्शन लेक उसी ने बनाई थी, और बाद में रिपेयरिंग का वर्क बाद में अलग अलग रूलर्स ने किया है, जिसकी चर्चा आगे होगी. सो दिस वाज द केस. एंड देन व्हाट अबाउट money, economy and urbanization? So urbanization was already there. You will find a reference to different urban centers during Maurya period. Different urban centers. For example, Megasthenes, who was a court, you can say ambassador in Chandragupta Maurya's court. So he has given a reference to 7 cities under Mauryas. And 8th city has been mentioned by, no sorry, I have mistakenly I have told. Once again, let me make a correction here. मतलब मैंने मिस्टेकनली कहा, इसको मैं फिर दोबारा दोहराता हूं. जैसे इन अशोकन इंस्क्रिप्शंस यू फाइंड अ रेफरेंस टू 7 cities, 7 important cities, and then Megasthenes has mentioned the 8th one, that was Mathura. So this point is here. Okay, that is all about Maurya economy. The very state-sponsored economy was Maurya economy. Go on. Post-Maurya. Post-Maurya. Post-Maurya North India to South India dynasty is already clear. No problem. First of all, let us brief agriculture. To support to agriculture through land grants. Support to agriculture through land grants. अब देखो फर्क क्या है कि मौर्य पीरियड में एग्रीकल्चर स्टेट स्पॉन्सर, मतलब स्टेट भी, ऐसा नहीं था कि प्राइवेट पीपल एग्रीकल्चर नहीं करते थे, प्राइवेट लोग पेजेंट तो करते ही थे, बट स्टेट वाज आल्सो डूइंग एग्रीकल्चर ड्यूरिंग मौर्य पीरियड. इन पोस्ट मौर्य पीरियड वन इंसेंटिव वाज द लैंड ग्रांट्स बाय द स्टेट, यू नो, लैंड ग्रांट्स, बिकॉज अब इन लैंड ग्रांट्स यू विल कम टू नो कि सपोज ग्रांटी वाज गिवन द लैंड, जैसे भूमि अनुदान था उससे एग्रीकल्चर को सपोर्ट मिलता था, जैसे ग्रांटी है, तो यू हैव टू बी aware of the fact कि grantee was not offered the total cultivated land. A part of the land remained to be uncultivated, which a grantee was supposed to develop at his own initiative. जो एक पार्ट ऑफ जो लैंड है वो अनकल्टिवेटेड है, जो ग्रांटी को अपने इनिशिएटिव से उसको डेवलप करना है. सो द लैंड शुड बी डिवाइडेड बिटवीन द डेवलप्ड एंड undeveloped or underdeveloped, you can say. तो अब क्या है कि if the grantee had to develop this land with the support of peasants from outside who were possibly tribal people, and the tribal people were educated about education by the educated about agriculture by the grantee, and then they were converted from tribes to peasants. So in this way there was the expansion of agriculture. So land grant was always favorable for agriculture, you know, and this process started in post Gupta period, you know, in post Maurya period, Satavahanas and then. तो अब एक तो यह है, दूसरा है कि इवन द प्राइवेट पीपल, मतलब एक तो भूमि अनुदान दिया जाता था जिसमें आबाद और गैर आबाद भूमि दी जाती थी. अब गैर आबाद भूमि उसको खुद, जो अनुदान पाने वाला है उसको खुद अपने प्रयास से डेवलप करना है, और उसमें वो क्या करता था, ट्राइबल लोगों को लगा देता था, उनको किसान बना देता था, पेजेंट बना देता था और उनसे खेती करवा लेता था. अब द सेकेंड वन, यू नो, द सेकेंड वन फैक्टर, यू नो, that is even the private people were encouraged to develop agriculture, and or you can say develop the land, because in Manu Samhita it has been mentioned clearly that the land belongs to whom that cultivates it first. In Manu Samhita it has been stated land belongs to whom that cultivates it first. मतलब कि it was consciously encouraged by the state to promote land ownership, and the state was itself encouraging to develop the land, and you can say the expansion of landed property through encouraging the individual ownership. मतलब ऐसा था कि कोई प्राइवेट पार्टी को ऑनरशिप स्टेट जानबूझ के देता था कि वो लैंड को डेवलप करे. मनु संहिता में कहा गया कि भूमि उसकी होती है जो उसको साफ करके आबाद करता है, और हिरन उसका होता है जो उस पर पहला निशाना लगाता है. सो इन दिस वे द प्राइवेट और इंडिविजुअल ओनरशिप इन लैंड वाज कॉन्शियसली इनकरेज्ड बाय द स्टेट. देन कम्स टू क्राफ्ट. Craft was much developed in post-Maurya period because much better agrarian surplus, you know. So in a text, in a Buddhist text, its name was Milind Panho. Milind Panho letter, देखो अभी क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है मैं आपसे शेयर करूं कि अभी मैं टेक्स्ट का नाम ले रहा हूं, मुझे खुद ही बुरा लग रहा है. I myself feel bad. Why? Because you people are quite unaware of the name of the text. But I am compelled to give a reference to text, but have patience. I'll make a separate column of literature from age to age, and I will mention about various texts, and as in economy, as in society, as in polity and administration. So in literature itself, starting from Vedic period, will come to early medieval age, and for the first time you will hear various names of the text. But as you are observing the changes, how the language is evolving, how literature is evolving, so my students, I am confident you will inculcate your interest into literature as well, and then this problem would be solved. लेकिन अभी आपको थोड़ा बर्दाश्त करना होगा, मुझे कई टेक्स्ट के नाम देने होंगे जो आप अनअवेयर होंगे. वैसे मिलिंद पन्हु एक टेक्स्ट है, दैट इज द बिलोंग्स टू Mahayana Buddhism, and in Milind Panhu text there is the reference of 75 occupations. 75 occupations, and among the 75 occupations 60 belong to crafts. मतलब मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि एक टेक्स्ट है मिलिंद पन्हु, उसमें 75 टाइप के व्यवसाय के बारे में चर्चा है, जिसमें 60 केवल शिल्प से है, 60. So 60 belong to crafts, and here you will find that there were different centers of production. For example, Mathura was known for production of the specific type of cotton that is called shatka. Ujjain was known for producing beads. Beads means मनका बोलते हैं गले में पहनने वाला, जो हड़प्पा सिविलाइजेशन में आपने देखा होगा. Then Magad was known for producing iron products. So different regions were known for different types of production. So in this way, that was going to help you, and in this way you understand that the different types of crafts were developed. अब what about trade? Trade was much developed trade, because in what way, my students, here I have to make you clear. I have to make you clear about trade. It was the time, my students, this is Silk Route, and the Silk Route linked China to Roman Empire. Okay, and here you come to know कि अब you are just moving here. So here you are just observing here Gujarat. So this is the port, and this port is, that is Bharuch. So this is the sea route, and this is the land route. You might have heard about Silk Route, जिसको रेशम मार्ग चाइना ने डेवलप किया है. ये जो सिल्क रूट है, ये चाइनीज एम्पायर को, चाइना में एक हान एम्पायर था और इधर रोमन एम्पायर था, इन दोनों को लिंक करता था. एंड इट वाज द कुशानाज हु built a big empire. So Kusanaj empire was having the control of a part of the Silk Route. So even India was playing the role of a mediator, and it was the time a number of items were in heavy demand in China. अब देखो, my students, being the student of history, you have to be aware of the one fact. Fact is that whenever there was the trade between East and West, means कि Asia and Europe, so Europe earlier remained to be the major consumer of Eastern products. Firstly, during early Christian centuries, the demand of Roman Empire demanded spices, particularly the black pepper. जिसको, जैसे रोमन एम्पायर था, उसको मसाले की बहुत ज्यादा मांग थी, उसमें भी काली मिर्च, ब्लैक पेपर, इट वाज हेवी इन डिमांड. डू यू नो, ब्लैक पेपर वाज सच ए हेवी इन डिमांड कि नॉर्मली एट दैट टाइम, black pepper was known as Yavan Priya, beloved of foreigners, mean most liked item by foreigners. So here you find black pepper, any spices, then iron and iron cutlery, silk products, pearls, moti, and some herbal products. So ये सब जो प्रोडक्ट्स थे कुछ खास मेडिसिनल प्रोडक्ट्स, सो दे वर बीइंग एक्सपोर्टेड फ्रॉम इंडिया टू रोम. एंड इन रिटर्न रोम से क्या आता था हमें? मेनली लीड और ग्लासेस, शीशे की वस्तुएं। एक रोम से एक खास प्रकार का पॉटरी जाता था, उसको दिमाग में रखना। रोम वेयर इन रिटर्न फ्रॉम रोम, इंडिया वॉज इंपोर्टिंग अरेंटाइन मृदभांड, अरेटाइन potteries. Aretine pottery. It was a specific type of potteries, and these potteries were produced in Rome. So these potteries were just exported by Rome to India. So that was the one item. Aretine potteries. And then better quality of wine. Wine was just, you can say, imported from Rome. Wine. And wine plus the, वाइन एंड वाइन एम्फ्रॉय, एम्फ्रॉय कहते थे जाम को, जिसमें कि वो लोग ड्रिंक्स करते थे, एम्फ्रॉय, वाइन और वाइन एम्फ्रॉय। तो मतलब मेन आइटम स्पाइसेस, रिपीट, देन आयरन कटलरी, देन सिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स, देन मेडिसिनल प्रोडक्ट्स, etc. These are the exportable items. Importable items, mainly coins. Gold and silver coins were the, you can say, in return the Romans were giving in the major quantity, because in northern and southern India at various places you will find the evidence of coins. So coins were the major item. Then after coins you will come to know second one item was glass and lead products, and third one Aretine potteries, and the fourth one wine. So these were the items imported from Rome. And balance of trade was possibly in favor of India, because there was a Roman author, his name was Pliny. So Pliny burst into tears on the phenomena of drain of wealth from Rome to India. Pliny virtually, you can say, weeping. Pliny was weeping कि Rome is incurring the loss because a substantial amount of precious metal was being exported from Rome to India. तो मतलब क्या है कि रोम एक बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में हम लोगों को बदले में क्या क्या भेजता था। फिर आइटम करो, जैसे हम यहाँ से मसाले भेजते थे, फिर लोहे के उपकरण भेजते थे, और फिर आयरन टूल्स भेजते थे। एंड आयरन मतलब विशेषकर किचन यूटेंसिल्स मतलब कि जो रसोई घर के जो यूज होने वाली वस्तुएं थी। और उसके बाद हम लोग और भी भेजते थे क्या, रेशम का प्रोडक्ट्स भेजते थे, फिर औषधि की चीजें भेजते थे, और मोती प्रोडक्ट्स भेजते थे। और वो लोग बदले में क्या भेजते थे हमें, तो एक तो मेटल, प्रेशियस मेटल, गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर, एंड उसके अलावा रोमन कॉइन्स भी मिला है इंडिया में, टाइबेरियस का और अगस्टस का। एंड उसके बाद वो हमें शीशे की वस्तुएं भेजते थे, अरेटाइन करके एक पॉटरीज है उसको भेजते थे, और वाइन भेजते थे। तो ये सब आता था हमारे, बैलेंस ऑफ ट्रेड हमारे फेवर में था। एंड देन यू ऑब्जर्व हियर कि इट लेड टू द बेटर अर्बनाइजेशन। अब हियर आई हैव टू इन्फॉर्म, फर्स्टली not to speak of urbanization, firstly you will know money economy or monetary system. So if someone is, my students, someone is going to ask you that the largest number of coins were produced during which period, you have to reply during post-Maurya period. Kushanas produced the better quality of gold coins. The Kushanas gold coins were much pure, or the purest form of gold coins were issued by Kushana kings. Then silver coins were being issued by Shaka kings, and not to speak of Satvahana kings. Satvahana kings issued not gold, silver coins, copper coins, bronze coins, coins made of tin, Potin was the another, you can say, the lower quality of metal, Potin, and then lead. तो क्वाइंस वाज जस्ट दैट वाज लेड क्वाइंस, शीशे का क्वाइंस भी सातवाहन ने इशू किया। तो कोई अगर आपसे एग्जामिनेशन में पूछे कि शीशे का क्वाइंस किसने यूज किया, तो आप सिलेक्ट करोगे सातवाहनास। तो लार्जेस्ट नंबर ऑफ क्वाइंस वर इशूड बाय हुम ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड, एंड देन व्हाट अबाउट अर्बनाइजेशन, अरे फ्रॉम नॉर्थ टू साउथ द लार्जेस्ट नंबर ऑफ अर्बन सेंटर्स। इफ समवन इज गोइंग टू आस्क यू कि व्हिच पीरियड इज मार्क्ड बाय the climax of urbanization in India, you will better to select post-Maurya period. Even not under Kushanas, Sakas, Parthians, but also under Satavahanas. In South India, you can say Roman trade was carried through Sangam state as well, Chol, Cher, Pandyas, and particularly it was the remote south region which was exporting a spice product to Roman Empire. And there was a port, you can say, in South India. A large number of ports were at that time. So you have to a Barbaricum post in the माउथ ऑफ इंडस, मतलब इंडस के माउथ पर एक बारबरिकम पोर्ट था, भरोच पोर्ट, मसूलिया. जैसे देयर इज द वन टेक्स्ट, पेरिप्लस ऑफ द इरिथियन सी. पेरिप्लस ऑफ द इरिथियन सी इज द टेक्स्ट, एंड दिस टेक्स्ट हैज बीन रिटन बाय whom? It was a Roman author. Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, but unknown author, you can say. Who is the author? We don't know the name. It was the name of the text. Erythraean Sea means three seas: Arabian Sea, Red Sea, and Persian Gulf. So that is Erythraean Sea. और ये जो पेरिप्लस है, it he has mentioned about 24 ports in India. Barbaricum, Birgu-Kaksha, Bharocha, then Tamlipti, then Masulia, and Masulipattam. Then in Cholas, you can say that is called Mujiris Port in Chera region, Korkai. Then, Puhar Kaveri Patnam, that is in Chola region. Vanjipuram, that is here, Chera region. So many ports have been mentioned here, you can say. So this is the point in post-Maurya period, and then you are coming to Gupta period. Mr. Ankur, okay?
Yes.
Are they okay or not?
Yes, sir.
And Gupta period, what about agriculture? What about agriculture? Will increase or decline? Increase. Why? 2 and 3 things. First, support through land grants. Guptas could issued larger number of land grants than the previous dynasties, you can say. So further expansion of agriculture you can imagine. Then you are also informed about the fact that Guptas gave support to irrigation. And if someone is going to ask you, who was the Gupta king that could repair the Sudarshana lake for giving support to irrigation? अगर कोई आपसे पूछे कि कौन सा गुप्ता रूलर है जिसने सुदर्शना लेक का रिपेयरिंग कराकर इरिगेशन को सपोर्ट किया, तो विल चूज अ नेम. व्हाट इज द नेम? दैट इज अस्कंद गुप्ता. It was under Askand Gupta there was an officer, and the name of the officer was Chakrapalit and Pandatta. Pandatta was father and Chakrapalit was the son, and they were employed in Junagadh. And it was here Girnar. So it was in Junagadh they repaired the Sudarshana lake and supported agriculture. So agriculture was in better condition, and even Fahyan and Hwensang later mentioned about the various sorts of crops in India. Then what about the craft? Even the craft was better condition. Vasayana was the author of this period. He talked about the 64 types of major crafts at that time. And आपको वैसे ही पता चलेगा कि गुप्ता के टाइम में crafts better था. The making furniture, then the pearl, then the making of the jewelries, the different types of crafts. In the metal craft was too much developed. देखो, अब मैंने आपको बताया था कि मेहरौली में जो आयरन पिलर है, जो चंद्रगुप्त विक्रमादित्य से जुड़ा हुआ माना जाता है, आयरन पिलर. So can you imagine that कि this iron pillar, the polish has not so far not fainted at all. So this iron pillar is giving a hint toward the developed type of metal at that time. And likewise, in Sultanganj region of Bihar, you will find a statue of Buddha. The weight of this statue was 1 ton, and it was made of bronze, the better quality of bronze. So that is giving a hint towards the better quality of metal work. Not simply that, you will find a large number of Guptan currencies, and these currencies were the better, you can say different varieties of metal currencies. So that is giving a hint towards the better metallic condition and the better metal quality of the Gupta period. तो ये जो क्राफ्ट है ये भी काफी डेवलप्ड है गुप्ता पीरियड का, एंड पर्टिकुलरली द गुप्ता पीरियड इज नोन फॉर द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कॉटन और द क्लॉथ्स, यू कैन से डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ क्लॉथ्स, कॉटन क्लॉथ्स, सिल्क क्लॉथ्स, cotton, silk and woolen. In the composition of Kalidas, you'll find the mention of the different quality of cloths. मतलब कपड़े उनके काफी विकसित शिल्प थे, और जो कालिदास का की रचना है उसमें आपको डिफरेंट वेराइटीज ऑफ आपको क्लॉथ्स मिलेगा, डिफरेंट वेराइटी ऑफ क्लॉथ्स उसका रेफरेंस है. और जब आप आगे आते हो तो आपको अजंता का जो पोर्ट्रेचर है, अजंता की पेंटिंग्स है, उसमें भी आपको अच्छे क्वालिटी के कपड़े दिखेंगे. सो बेटर क्वालिटी ऑफ क्लॉथ्स हैव बीन मेंशन्ड इन टेक्स्ट एंड द बेटर क्वालिटी ऑफ क्लॉथ्स वेयर जस्ट यू कैन से विजिबल इन अजंता पेंटिंग्स. तो इसका मतलब है जो क्लॉथ भी है, क्लॉथ इंडस्ट्री है, वो गुप्ता के टाइम में काफी डेवलप्ड है. देन व्हाट्स अबाउट मनी इकोनॉमी एंड ट्रेड. अब ट्रेड में देखो कंट्रोवर्शियल है. सो एक्चुअली द गुप्तन इकोनॉमी वाज कंट्रोवर्शियल. यस्टरडे सम ऑफ माय स्टूडेंट्स आस्क्ड मी द क्वेश्चन कि इन व्हाट वे एंड व्हाई डिड इन द राइज ऑफ feudalism a scarcity or paucity of coins. So now time has come to discuss about the condition of trade, the coins, the urbanization, etc. But my students, today the time is over, so I will just continue this discussion even on Monday. After finishing economy, then we have to move to society. So you people are requested to go through economy and society part of my study material. On Monday I'll just do this work. जब मैं मंडे को आऊंगा तो आपको सोसाइटी भी डील करूंगा और इकोनॉमी भी डील करूंगा, और इसमें जो बचे हुए पार्ट है उसको मैं पूरा कर दूंगा. अंकुर, आप पॉसिबली वी विल डू अप टू सोसाइटी, आई थिंक ऑन मंडे. मिस्टर अंकुर, एनी क्वेश्चन? आर दे ओके? So my students, I am stopping here. I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much and good night.
Sir, okay.
हाँ.
Anshan करेंगे sir, you didn't explain taxation system in any period.
Taxation system, that was the part of administration, not the part of economy. So that's why I have not mentioned.
Okay.
Taxation system was basically the part of administration. You people have to try to link start up after making revision. You have to do some sort of intellectual meditation. You will go through my study material, start to think what is the condition of economy during Vedic, Vedic period, how did it improve in later Vedic period, what happened in Buddha age, then what was the further development in Maurya period, then post Maurya period, then Gupta period. So you have to develop an integrated approach. Then we will just cover the part third, so what happened in Delhi Sultanate economy, then Mughal economy, and then you from the modern you will link it directly. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much.